What the hell? It seems like the age of Metal Gear is finally over, at least if you considered Kojima as an essential part of the Metal Gear formula. Since Kojima has now moved on to a project outside of Konami called Death Stranding, this looks like the end of an era of gaming. Of course, Metal Gear 4 Guns of the Patriots was really meant to be the last game of the series, and Kojima has been trying to move on for years, but now he's out for real. So I thought it would be interesting to go back and take a look at the game that really started it all, Metal Gear Solid for the original PlayStation 19 years ago, Blind. But wait, Ethos, I hear you typing on the computer really fast. Metal Gear Solid is not the first game in the series. You're right, Mr. Well-actually head-ass fact-checker. There were, in fact, 3 Metal Gear games that came out before the PlayStation 1 title. Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, and the non-canon Snake's Revenge, which Kojima had nothing to do with. Yes, these games are important, but it's Metal Gear Solid that laid the groundwork for what most people think of as a Metal Gear game today. Its DNA runs strongly through Metal Gears 2 through 4, with the formula only changing radically with Metal Gear 5. The first 2 Kojima Metal Gear games are pretty important story-wise, but unless you're one of the most hardcore of fans, which I'm personally not, their gameplay has not really aged well enough so that I would recommend that you go back and play them. For most people though, it's better to just find a Let's Play on YouTube. But what about Metal Gear Solid 1? As a modern gamer who has never played the first game, should you even bother playing it, or should you just find a Let's Play of it and watch it? That's what I aim to answer in this video. And quick disclaimer, I should also note that there was a remake of this game on the GameCube called The Twin Snakes, which uses the same engine and graphics from the PS2 titles, and it's a worthy game on its own, but it's been changed significantly by adding gameplay from later parts of the game to the level design from Metal Gear Solid, so in my opinion it's not really a substitute for playing the original OG. Okay, yeah, now that we got that out of the way. First of all, it's important that I note that I actually played this game on a PlayStation 2 to get the closest experience possible of playing the game for the first time back in the day. Either way, here's my thoughts on Metal Gear Solid 1 playing it in the modern age for the absolute first time blind. In the near future of 2005, our hero, Solid Snake, is back from retirement to infiltrate Shadow Moses Island, a nuclear weapons disposal facility that's been taken over by a rogue military unit known as Foxhound. These genetically enhanced soldiers are demanding the biological remains of Big Boss, the man the Solid Snake defeated in the past. On top of this, they want a cool $1 billion, and both demands have to be met within 24 hours. And if they don't get what they want, they're gonna use Metal Gear Rex bipedal platform to launch nukes against the US government. With nothing more than a sneaking suit and a personal communicator, Snake has to get inside of Shadow Moses' facility and put a stop to their plans. And without spoiling it for first-time players, Snake encounters, of course, several twists and turns as he uncovers the truth behind the plot, as well as some dark secrets from his own past. You know, spy shit. But let's get the big question out of the way immediately. The graphics. The PS1 graphics hardware is beyond modest compared to what we have today. The 32-bit GPU ran at 33 MHz and had a whopping 1 MB of video memory. But what we have here are textures that really need some real good imagination of figuring out. Limited animations, character models have very few polygons, and character faces are literally just a single expressionless texture. When characters talk, it's basically just head nodding in time to the dialogue. And so you might be asking, does this game suffer for this? Hell no. Despite having such a limited palette to work from, Kojima's team managed to craft a truly cinematic game. Clever graphical tricks are all over the place, and the art style and attention to detail really carry this game home. Yes, the graphics pale in comparison to 3D games from even the PS2 generation, but it hurts the gameplay experience in no way whatsoever. In fact, while I was actually playing this game for the first time, I really forgot about the graphics completely. The gameplay itself, at its core, is pretty simple. You have to get Snake from point A to point B while trying not to get spotted by the enemy. You get all sorts of spy gadgets and things in the environment to help you do this. As a last resort, you can kill enemies, but sneaking past them or knocking them out is the preferred method. It's not just that simple though. Apart from the enemies, there's actually some other obstacle in your way. It might be a keycard or the need to speak to a certain person. Sometimes you have to get around or disable a certain trap in the level. Metal Gear Solid doesn't often straight up tell you what you need to do, which is why why you have a support team that you can reach with your communicator. They'll usually give you some context clues and tips for the zone that you're in. The rhythm of the game is usually to complete a section by solving the main obstacle in the zone. Then you'll encounter a boss battle. This pattern more or less repeats itself throughout Metal Gear Solid 1, and the narrative is hung from this framework. Although the game is in 3D and the camera can come down to a third and even first-person perspective, it's more accurate to say that Metal Gear Solid 1 is largely a top-down action game in a similar vein to the two original titles. Now, the boss battles have to be given a special mention here. Each boss is unique, and you have to figure out each one's gimmick to beat it. The various members of Foxhound are super memorable and are one of the game's strongest elements. You'll have to rely on your support team's tips to beat some of the bosses the same way you'll have to figure out other parts of the game. To me, this felt like one of the most grounded feeling elements of the game. Snake is an excellent soldier and a stealth guy, but I appreciate that he doesn't pretend to know everything. He might be alone physically, but the suggestion of a support team to back him up with intelligence makes the experience oddly realistic. Metal Gear Solid is a game that spent a lot of effort on creating and maintaining atmosphere. The music is used sparingly, but it's great and does the same thing that a movie soundtrack should, which is to support the drama.
Kid, she's a merciless killer.
I can see you perfectly from here. I told you, I'd never quit the hunt. Now you're mine.
The sound design of the game is still good by modern standards, and the voice acting in particular is still better than plenty of modern games. Now, the Metal Gear games have been known for their mix of tongue-in-cheek and serious elements, and the voice acting reflects this, with people saying it straight or not as needed.
I am back from a world where such words are meaningless. I've removed all obstacles. Now you and I will battle to the death.
What do you want?
I've waited a long time for this day. Now I want to enjoy the moment.
What's with these guys? It's like one of my Japanese animes.
Never once did I really cringe at the voice acting, and I'd really put up the quality of the cast in this game against any modern title. Now, Metal Gear Solid is not a perfect game, and it does have many flaws that can be pretty irritating to modern gamers. For one thing, the camera can be absolutely maddening at times, especially in boss battles. Being unable to see things that are off-screen but are in Snake's line of sight can be an issue. The other issue that I have with Metal Gear Solid 1 is that sometimes what you need to do next is just too obscure. But I can only imagine playing this game at a time when most people did not have internet access could have absolutely been a deal breaker. And hey, I'll admit it, I had to look up some things once or twice during my playthrough. But that doesn't mean that you'll have to as well, but I expect many modern gamers to get a little stuck here and there. The last big gripe that I have are really just the controls, and yes, I understand that this game is in fact 19 years old, but getting Snake to do what you want him to do can be a little tricky sometimes. This is especially true if you get forced into combat. He controls He controls a little bit like a dog when you actually have to fight, but I guess if you do your job right, which is playing stealthily, this might not really be an issue. While sneaking, I also sometimes got caught and exposed myself by accident because the controls screwed with my timing, but this is nothing that a retry just couldn't fix. So let me get to the bottom line. Should a modern Metal Gear fan play MGS1? After playing this game, my honest opinion is that yes, you absolutely should. The game is still compelling, and if you liked any of the later games, you'll find exactly the same things you enjoy here, just obviously not as polished yet. I truly believe looking back that watching a Let's Play of Metal Gear Solid 1 doesn't do justice to the atmosphere or fun the game still has to offer. It's the perfect length for one thing, with an average first playthrough lasting around 10 to 11 hours. This means for me, the game never really outstayed its welcome. And for a modern gamer, I'd also recommend playing this on the Vita, since the game's graphics have aged far better on a 5-inch Vita screen than on a 50-inch TV or a 24-inch monitor. Now, I played it on my BenQ monitor, and I played it in original mode, which keeps the aspect and pixel accuracy, and that allows the game to still look pretty good that way. If Metal Gear did not exist and the game was launched in 2017 with modern graphics as in the Twin Snakes remake, I'm pretty sure the game would still have been a huge hit. It's a modern 3D action game in almost every way, and I can't really think of anything in its design that feels archaic in terms of actual gameplay. Sure, the technology the game runs on is positively ancient, but to me, Metal Gear Solid 1 felt like a benchmark in tight game design and cinematic storytelling. Hey, thanks for watching, and you know what, I'm curious, have you played Metal Gear Solid 1 recently for the first time? What did you think about the game? Maybe you agree or disagree with something that I've said? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, why not like, comment, and maybe even share this video with others? Thank you so much for watching, and also special shout out to the Patreon backers who made this video possible.